So lots of news articles at the minute about the increasing age of children toilet training, and in particular the increased age of how many children and what percentage of children aren't fully toilet trained for starting school. And the problem I have with a lot of these articles, I'm so pleased it's been brought to media attention, first of all, because this is a big issue that nobody's really talking about. It's great it's talking about, but it's really being misunderstood. So the focus is at the minute on how do we encourage parents to toilet train children, and there's a lot of words saying things like we just need to encourage them to praise children, and we just need to make sure that they're doing it on time, and all of these sorts of things. But it's completely misunderstanding the problem, if you like, and we have to think about why is it that so many children aren't toilet trained or are still finding difficulty with wetting and swelling and coming to school age. Now, I have supported so many families with toilet training over the years, and what really strikes me is that the parents that are coming saying we're finding difficulty in this area beyond an age that we thought we would are parents that are working so hard to try and toilet train their children, and they have done the praise, they have done the rewards, and it's not working, and they don't know where to turn, and they're saying, I don't know what to do. Why is it that my child is finding this so difficult? And these parents are working beautifully with their children. So I want to bring it up because I want to take away that sense of this is an issue because parents haven't done enough. In my experience, that's not the reason why many children are experiencing difficulty in this area. And this, whose responsibility it is. So there was a poll the other day on a media channel saying, should it be parents' responsibility to toilet train children? Should it be this? But actually, the parents, in my opinion, are really taking this responsibility on board. So why is it? Why are children finding this difficult? So there's a few reasons. The first can be, individual needs of children. So there might be sensory needs, or there might be children aren't able to communicate, whether it's due to their communication, or maybe they're just feeling like they can't talk about it. So there's those sorts of individual reasons. But what's impacting a lot of children is actually constipation. And when I'm working with a family, what I'm finding is that the majority of the children that are finding urinary or experiencing urinary accidents are actually constipated. And the reason that constipation impacts toilet training is because if you have a boil full of poo, it can either put pressure on the bladder, and the bladder then loses control and the child starts having frequent accidents, or when the bladder, if you like, is filling up with urine, if you've got a heavy boil near it that's full, it's taking up some of the space that bladder should be using, and then it's putting pressure on the bladder and it's causing frequent accidents. So a lot of the time when children are experiencing frequent accidents, the first thing I say to parents is there a chance your child could be constipated? Because if they are, no amount of praise, no amount of parents taking 3 days off work is going to help that child unless we are able to help them with the constipation. Something I should mention is there is a constipation epidemic happening right now, and nobody is talking about it. But both within my potty role and just as a parent who speaks to other parents, a lot of children are constipated, and I'm not quite sure why this is. If it's diet, if it's exercise, if it's our gut health, which I suspect could be playing a part, because we're seeing gut health impacting other things such as allergies and intolerances. So is it linked? We also have more children with allergies, and of course if you've got, for example, cow's milk protein allergy and you're trialing the dairy ladder, some children will experience constipation as a result. So is it linked? Is this actually a gut health issue? And we are trying to throw all the praise of the day at it. I could do another thing about praise, but not the time. So that's the first thing. The second thing that can really be impacting children that's linked with this is actually to do with anxiety and pressure. So we know that the brain and the gut are connected. And this is really relevant when it comes to talking about starting school as well as toileting. So if you go back to the cave days, imagine I'm a cave woman and I see a tiger or an animal that's going to get me coming towards me. And we're as a group and we all think, gosh, let's run. So the part of our brain that supports us when we feel we're in danger kicks in and we think we have to fight it or flight it or freeze or fawn. But either way, you want to get out of there. So let's imagine we're running away from it. And there's a group of us running. And you think to yourself, my goodness, I have to go to the toilet. I have to stop and do a poo. The person that stops is now most vulnerable because that's who the wild animal is going to reach. So from a safety perspective and a historical perspective, if you're feeling stressed or pressured or your body senses danger, your body doesn't naturally promote the release. Or it could be the other way. So you could see in the distance something coming. You're thinking, gosh, there's a creature coming or an animal coming that's putting me at risk. I'm going to quickly go to the toilet now so I can then run. So sometimes when people are feeling feelings of anxiety or worry, or they feel that they're not safe, they will go quite quickly. So you might see somebody who's going to a job interview always going to the bathroom, or you might see other people who can't go to the bathroom when they're nervous about a job interview because their body is trying to protect them either way. So if children are feeling anxious or worried, maybe because of the start of school or transitions, or actually maybe the fact that we're telling them you have 3 days to potty train, and if you don't, you're not a big boy, you can't go to school, all of these things. If they're picking up any anxieties, worries, they might start holding their poo. They can hold their poo for a lot of reasons. It's not always. It can start with a fear of the flush, fear of the water, fear of whatever. But if you're emotionally feeling under pressure, it can actually promote the holding of poo, which again can cause constipation. If you're constipated and you go to do a poo and it's sore, you might start holding because your body thinks I want to avoid that situation again, and so we get stuck. So when I see articles that are saying whose responsibility is this, or we need to tell parents to praise more, I feel it's a little bit patronising to the majority of parents who are thinking, I have tried the praise, I have tried this, I have tried that. And actually what we need to focus on is, instead of saying whose fault is it, why are children, we need to think, what can we do to help this child? And rather than saying, is it this person's responsibility or that, what can we do together to support this child and support this family? Because if you're listening to this and you have a child who's finding toilet training difficult, you will know it affects the whole family. You will know every outing that you're planning, you will be considering their toileting needs. It impacts their behaviour, it impacts where you can go, it impacts your day-to-day life. So what I'd like to see is a bit more education for schools, day nurseries, early years professionals, to help them understand how we can reduce feelings of pressure and anxiety for children, particularly around toilet training, and how we can be doing early intervention regarding constipation and really supporting children with that. So thinking about their boils, thinking about their emotional minds, and instead of focusing on whose fault is it, think, how do we work together? Can we come up with a plan? If there's a child about to start school and they're finding difficulty in the area, rather than pointing fingers, how can we say, can we all sit down together and come up with a plan how we can help that child in school? Can we get to the root of what's happening with them? And whether it's a sensory need, whether it's constipation, whether it's emotional. I'd really like to see that. So if you're a family that is going through this, please know you're not on your own. Please know that it's unlikely something that you have done or not done. I know most people have worked really hard with toilet training and still might be finding that their child is finding it difficult. And there are very few families that just have thought, oh, I'll just not put there. And in fact, I've never come across a family in that situation, neither as a potty consultant or social worker. I also have degrees in both education and social work, so I understand the pressure schools are under as well, but I think that we're missing the point here, so hope that helps.